In the early 1960s, as the Beatles were at the height of their popularity, they were constantly juggling their music with the demands of being global superstars. One of the most iconic moments in their career came in 1967, with the release of Strawberry Fields Forever, a song that would come to symbolize the band's shift into more experimental, surreal territory. But as legendary as the track is, the promotional film that accompanied it is almost as memorable for the story behind its creation. Peter Goldman, the Swedish director tasked with bringing the song to life visually, recalls the challenge. We hadn't really planned to go to the actual locations mentioned in the song, places like Liverpool, for example. We were in the middle of recording more LP material and had no time to travel there. Instead, I found a perfect location much closer to London, Knowle Park Estate in Kent. It was just right for the atmosphere of Strawberry Fields and far more convenient. The Beatles, always committed to innovation, weren't just focused on the music. They were involved in every aspect of the project, including the creation of the visuals. Tony Bramwell, the band's tour manager, and Peter Goldman, along with the rest of the crew, had their work cut out for them, but they did it with characteristic humor and patience. One of the most memorable aspects of the filming involved a peculiar contraption that Klaus Voormann, the artist behind the album cover for Revolver, had designed. It was a bizarre, large wooden instrument that seemed as though it was crafted specifically for the whimsical world of the Beatles. Bramwell recalls, "Klaus had this strange idea for an instrument made of wood, so I had to find a suitable tree. I ended up finding one in Knowle Park. We took an old piano, gutted it, and spent hours stringing miles of shiny thread between the branches. It was quite an effort, but it was the perfect visual touch." The weather, however, wasn't on their side. The wind was so fierce that it snapped the threads they'd painstakingly tied to the branches, forcing them to start over multiple times. Bramwell continued, "It was a mess. But the Beatles were so patient. They were in great spirits, even though things weren't going as planned. We had to keep resetting everything." Peter Goldman, who was directing the shoot, adds, "We built a giant instrument with strings suspended in the air. It was essentially an old piano that was falling apart. The wind kept breaking the strings and they kept falling down, creating chaos. But we kept pushing through. Despite the logistical challenges, the crew and the band's patience were key to capturing the right footage. Ringo Starr, known for his easygoing nature, took the opportunity to showcase his technical knowledge about cameras. I was really impressed by Ringo," says Goldman. "He was very knowledgeable about photography and cameras. He knew what he was doing, which was a bit surprising, but it just goes to show how versatile they were, even beyond their musical talent." The Beatles, always up for fun, were not just professional, but also enjoyed the playful aspects of filming. One particularly amusing moment occurred when the band was sitting in John Lennon's Rolls-Royce. As Goldman recalls, the Beatles were laughing so hard. They had microphones and loudspeakers, and they were messing around, trying to give me a haircut. It was a total laugh riot. But unexpectedly, it attracted a crowd. Boys from a nearby boarding school had skipped class and came running to see what was happening. They wanted autographs, and that was all they needed to be happy. It was chaos, but in the best way. The atmosphere on set, though chaotic, was always lighthearted. John, ever the prankster, grabbed a camera and began filming the crowd, saying, "Jump! I want you all to jump." But no one followed his lead, much to his amusement. Instead, he ended up filming the tree, the broken piano strings, and everything that was going on around him. It wasn't exactly what he had planned, but in true Beatles fashion, it was perfect in its own unique way. The costumes for the video were a mix of the band's personal wardrobe and some new additions. According to Bramwell, "We didn't really have a set storyline, so we just played around with the costumes and tried different things. Most of the clothing came from the Beatles' own wardrobes. We only bought a few red coats for the shoot. Ringo loved the old military uniform, and John wore a priest's coat that he had originally bought for a masquerade ball. Throughout the shoot, the Beatles remained patient and cheerful, despite the challenging conditions. Goldman remembers, "There was a biting cold wind that day, but the Beatles kept everyone in good spirits. They were always joking around and making sure the crew was happy. They were incredibly professional, but still had a great time." It wasn't just about the music. It was about creating something special together. The filming was full of experimentation. Bramwell recalls, "We didn't have a clear narrative, so we tried a lot of different techniques, like altering the speed of the film or running the footage in reverse. We were just trying things out, seeing what worked." In the end, the Strawberry Fields Forever promotional video captured the spirit of the song perfectly: whimsical, surreal, and full of charm. It wasn't a typical music video by any means, but that was exactly what made it iconic. The Beatles weren't just musicians, they were innovators, always pushing boundaries and exploring new ways to express their creativity. The video for Strawberry Fields Forever is a testament to their adventurous spirit and their ability to turn even the most chaotic moments into something magical. It wasn't just about creating a promotional film, it was about capturing the essence of the Beatles themselves: playful, experimental, and always one step ahead of the rest of the world.